Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Get some pretty big news today. We're going to focus on one thing. We're not going to do a lot of different news stuff. Just this one thing because it could potentially be pretty serious, and you need to be aware of it because there's not a lot in the news about it. And that's usually when things like this happen, that they're kind of a big deal, or at least they appear to be a big deal. And the mainstream media is focused on all this other stuff. Me personally, I think, well, maybe that's the one thing I should watch is the stuff they're not talking about. So we want to talk about this. It may be nothing. It could be nothing, but it could be the start of something very big. And we'll get into that here in just a second. Before I get started, there is a meeting of sorts that I want to announce. I do this for other groups, so if you have a meeting that you want to be publicly announced, you can certainly shoot me an email. Try to give me a couple weeks advance so that I can plan for it and announce the meeting, and hopefully people will show up. There has been some really good success from this. It's not because of me. It's just because it's a platform that, a lot of people watch, and surprisingly, there's been some pretty good success. This one is in, excuse me, about coughed there, tickle in my throat, Southeast Georgia. So if you are in the Southeast Georgia area, listen up. This is called the Southeast Georgia Freedom Forum. It is meeting this coming Saturday, December the 10th. This Saturday, December the 10th. This is an all-day event. They do these, I believe, every month. I wish I lived closer because I would certainly love to do this. They are doing this at a I'm looking, I think, because it's always usually the same place. They're doing this kind of out at like some state or maybe federal national parks or national forest or state conservation, something like that. And so the December 10th, they're going to be just practicing some skills, talking about bug out bags, different things like that. Though there's going to be a lunch there. I think you need to bring your own food for that. You are capable or able to camp out the night before there. So if you want to come on December the 9th, which is a Friday, and camp overnight, do some primitive camping, that is available. If you are interested in this event on December 10th in Southeast Georgia this weekend, should be an email popping up down below, and you can shoot that person an email and you can ask what's going on and how to get there, because I want to be involved, because it's important for us to find other people out there. So if you're in that part of the country, I would certainly encourage you to try to find other like-minded people. And in an event like this, a Georgia Freedom Forum, outdoor kind of camping skills event, you probably are going to have a pretty good chance of meeting someone that's of like mind. Another thing before I get started, silver and gold prices have been all over the place. We've been talking about this for months now, of how there's this great hoarding of silver and gold. The central banks are doing it, the ultra elites are doing it, and individuals are doing it. I've been seeing reports and hearing reports from companies that are silver and gold brokers. They sell to individuals like you and I, and their sales are through the roof. And it's because people see what's coming. They see that this, the collapsing currency and this new central bank digital currency is on its way, and it's on its way pretty fast. And so if you're interested in buying, I did see that silver went down today a little bit. I mean, it's been going up, and I suspect it has a long way to go before it hits the roof. It's got a long way to go before it peaks, because there's less silver out there than there's gold, and in the long run, silver is in a way more valuable, at least in the sense, at least in the sense that it has many more uses. With all this technology, you have to have silver. I know they use gold in some of it, but silver is used a lot. And so most people agree that the value of silver has been held back, but if you want to buy gold too. Anyways, the point is down in the description below, there's a link to a company called Money Metals. That's where I get a lot of mine when I do buy. and they have always treated me good. And a lot of times, if you order a certain amount, you'll get a free gift, maybe a little quarter-ounce round or something like that. But hey, it's free silver. You can't turn down free silver, right? That's Money Metals. Down in the description below, you'll find a link that you can go there and purchase you some silver. Now that I've taken forever because everyone just gets so upset that I talk about things and do long intros and all that, let's get on with the actual stuff. So Moscow Times and a few other sources are reporting that apparently the Ukrainians launched some drones and actually struck a Russian airfield inside Russian territory, and 3 soldiers were killed. Nuclear-capable bombers were likely damaged. These are the what are they? The Tu-95s? Yes, the Tu-95s. These are their long-range strategic bombers, kind of similar to our B-52s in a way. I mean, not exactly, but it gets you the idea of what we're talking about. Probably more advanced because the B-52s are kind of old. No, they're probably on the same, close to that in comparison. So these are long-range strategic nuclear bombers. These were damaged by a drone. Now, there's some discrepancies on what happened. Some people are reporting that the drones were shot by the Russians and pieces of them fell. Others are reporting that the drones actually hit their targets. That I can't tell you either way. The Russian Defense Ministry has not yet to comment as of the posting of this article. And why this is so important, okay? Because number one, this was done inside of Russia. This is an attack inside of Russia by Ukraine, apparently. Now, we're just going by what we hear in the news that's been talked about. I mean, there are some speculation that could these have been some new drones that the Ukrainians have worked on? Was NATO involved in this? I don't know. I don't know. What I can tell you is, according to the reports that we're seeing online, that 2 Russian nuclear-capable bombers, it doesn't mean that they had nukes on them, but these are their big planes, were damaged in a drone strike inside Russia by the Ukrainians, and apparently 3 Russian soldiers were killed. This is pretty big. In fact, this may be the biggest escalation that we've seen thus far. Russia has definitely made it clear that if they were painted in the corner that they would use nukes. And then let me show you this, because I mentioned this last week, and I don't know how many people caught on to this, of how significant this is. But Russia now says that U.S. and NATO are directly participating in the Ukrainian war. This is from their, Lavrov, yes, right here. You shouldn't say that the U.S. aren't taking part of this war. You are directly participating in it. So the Russians are now saying something that many of us have said all along, like this is not just a standard kind of proxy war, that we are, and NATO is very much directly involved in this. And so Russia hasn't commented. A lot of people think that, that's good news. Russia hasn't said anything. They've not retaliated. Then they're just going to ignore this. I highly doubt that. I'm sure they're working on a very proper response to this. And could they end up blaming NATO and the United States on this, much in the same way that NATO and the United States blamed Russia when Ukraine accidentally dropped a bomb in Poland. Yeah, Poland, that's right. They blamed Russia even though it was shown that it was Ukrainians that dropped this missile or bomb or whatever inside Poland. They blamed Russia. Which would have been a big stretch to do so. This, blaming NATO and the United States for this, I think would be much easier since, the United States and NATO are directly supporting the Ukrainians, training and funding it and everything. This could be a serious escalation. This is one of those things, and I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But my opinion is this incident today, or when this happened within the last 24 hours, is big enough to be something that you could look back on in history and say this was the real catalyst that started World War III. I mean, it had already been going But this thing right here, whoops, I just smacked my mic. This thing right here, this bombing of these Russian nuclear capable planes, really got it set off. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to happen. I'm just saying that I think that's the kind of capability that we're talking. That's what we're talking about within the realm of possibility. Also on top of this, you have to think that if Russia does nothing, and even if they do something, this can make Russia look pretty bad. Russia is very acutely aware of their public image, and they don't want to be looked on as weak or incapable of defeating such a small, little, puny nation of Ukraine. And so if they're not able to secure their own airfields, that some drone, and according to the reports, and again, this may not be true, but according to the reports, I don't know if it says it in this one, that it was supposed to be, let's see, I don't guess it says in this particular one, but the reporting is that this drone that the Ukrainians used could have been an old Cold War era Russian drone that they kind of refitted and fixed and stuff and used. So if they're taking some old 1970s, 1980s technology, and they're using it to get past Russian defenses, Russian air defenses, and actually strike a Russian air base, taking out potentially planes and soldiers, that's a big black eye on the Russians. And so they're going to, I would suspect, do something to retaliate, to save face. This is potentially serious, folks. I mean, very serious. Serious enough that it would not surprise me if something like a tactical nuke was used. I'm not saying that's what they will do, okay? I'm just saying that I think that this is the level of seriousness that we're looking at here. So, with all the stuff that goes on, with all the things that we talk about, in preparations, don't forget what's going on over here with Russia and Ukraine. There's a lot of stuff happening there, and we are most definitely building up our forces. I spoke last week about this, and you kind of have to dig around. There's not any. Well, there's some evidence, publicly available evidence out there of the true magnitude that we are building our forces in Poland, and in other places, but primarily Poland. Poland seems to be the new front for the war. That's where we will do our attacking, is from Poland. We have already appointed a 3-star general as the Ukrainian command. We have put several thousand troops over there, and there is just an immense amount from the reports that I'm getting, and some of these reports are from actual soldiers with their boots on the ground. I cannot name names or anything, but I have received some reports from soldiers that are in Poland, and they're saying it's a massive amount of equipment that is being delivered on a daily basis, unloaded, and they are setting up a large base there. There are other countries involved, not just the United States. They're training Polish troops and other European troops. They're training Ukrainian troops. There is most definitely a large effort going on in Eastern Europe, there along the Polish and Ukrainian border, to build a war machine. And I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of people in powerful places in Washington and Moscow and other places that expect it to eventually happen. So we should certainly be prepared for that, get ready for that, because, again, we've talked about this so much in the past. If an actual conflict, kinetic war gets started between Russia and the United States, that's a huge, huge deal, folks. Really big deal. It could draw China in it, not directly in the conflict between us, but China could see us as in a vulnerable position and go ahead and attack Taiwan. It could cause a lot of chaos here at home with the economy and with other things. Our government could use it as an excuse to do all kinds of things in the spirit of securing and making us a safer country because of the bad Ruskies or whatever. So we have to be aware of that. and continue preparing and getting our houses in order, because something like this strike on these Russian planes, this is serious. And, even if this isn't the specific catalyst to World War III, it could certainly aid in setting things into motion that will get us there. So definitely be getting ready. Continue prepping. Like I've said so many times, don't just prepare for one specific incident. Prepare for everything, okay? Because right now, when you look around the world and around this country, everything is happening. It's because we're watching the collapse of modern civilization. I mean, that's what it is. And the elites' hope and dreams are that they will replace it with their utopian New World Order agenda. And maybe they will, maybe they won't. But the point is that we have to be ready for this collapse, because it is most definitely happening. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order. Prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.